that we broadcast live from 3 of our terminals right here in Springfield, Missouri, also Pittston, Pennsylvania, and Salt Lake City. But we also are live on Facebook and live on YouTube. So if you're listening from the road, hopefully you're not driving, but thank you for tuning in and welcome. So first we'll go east to Pittston, Pennsylvania. Who do we have with us this morning? We got Rick?
Good morning, Dennis. It's nice to be here.
Great to have you. Oh man, looks like you got a full house up there. That's great to see. How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. You know, it's nice to be among family. We had a great week this week, big class. Look like next week is going to be just as big. So yeah, we're doing great.
Good job, good job. So Mitch over here has harassed me not to talk about the weather up there in Pittston, but you know, I do feel like we had a complaint about the bacon up there this week. What's the deal?
About the what?
Bacon, the bacon.
Bacon? I just had some. It was delicious.
All right, then we're confirmed. Bacon is good to go this week. So, all right. So let's get to a little bit more important things. Let's talk about the pad and the training. Are we packed and ready to go? Tell us what you got going on.
You know, the pad's moving along really good. We got a lot of people down there training, and we're going to have a lot more for next week. So, you know, if anybody's looking to be a trainer, now's the time. We need trainers.
Absolutely, and we are trying to put them out there as quickly and as efficiently as we can. So you guys are just a part of this meeting, just like we are. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to step up and jump on the microphone.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Dennis.
All right, good to see you, Rick. Let's go out west. Do we got Troy with us this morning?
Good morning. Good morning from Salt Lake City. How are you?
Doing well. How you guys doing out there? I see you got your fancy backdrop, man. You know, I think you guys are doing better than we are.
It's fancy out here, man. They've done a great job on the building out here. We've got a lot of students waiting in line for our amazing breakfast too. So we're doing great right now.
Good. So I'm assuming the bacon is on out there, right?
We have great bacon. Yeah, great bacon in Salt Lake.
All right. So, you know, one piece of feedback that I got from the last meeting is that, you know, there's been an accusation that you guys are pumping volume into on the Friday morning meeting. You know, they're saying there's really only like 3 people out there with you, but when you come in, you got the round of applause. That's not true, is it?
That's just when I walk in the room, actually. That it doesn't matter where I'm at.
Well played. Well played.
They're just happy being here out of the rain. It's been pouring for the last 3 days. So we got buckets of rain out here. And we had a fire, but it put the fire out. So we take care of stuff in Utah, man.
Well, good deal. So, Mitch, you know, I didn't say anything about the weather out there. I just want to make sure you got that on record. But, you know, tell us about what you got going on training wise out there.
You know, we've got a great PSD program out here. You know, we have our local program. When we do have a shortage of trainers at all, we also have a local program here in Salt Lake. And we've got 3 trainers that work out on the pad with our drivers. They teach them the pre-trip. They teach them the backing. They do some driving also with them, and it's just another great way to keep our new drivers involved and get them ready to take their CDL.
That sounds awesome, man. I want you to keep that excitement going. I want your folks out there in Salt Lake City to keep that excitement going. Hopefully the rain dries up and you get some sunny days out there. But as always, man, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to jump on the microphone and we'll get you right on.
Great. Thanks, man.
All right. Right back here to Springfield, Missouri. I'm not doing this by myself. I've got some stranger up here with me. This is Steve Field, our Director of Safety. Good morning, Steve. How you doing?
Morning, Dennis. How much coffee have you had this morning?
I told you when I walked in the building, I was feeling good this morning.
You're always feeling good. You know, I love having Dennis in the safety department. I like having everyone in the safety department, but Dennis brings a unique perspective to us in that he came from our operations area here, worked in operations for 15 years or so, and he said we have something kind of special today, and Dennis is going to take that for us. So we're going to kind of lean on his operational background here in just a little bit. But before we get to that, I do want to do just a couple of things. First thing I want to do is certainly welcome everyone to the meeting. As Dennis said, we try to do this every Friday. We're back on a roll now. These meetings have come a long way over the last 25 years, and it's just amazing to be able to look at our terminal in Pittston and Salt Lake City, have it out live. We'll get questions today coming in through social media. It's just a good way for us to share information. But what I also want to do is speak just a minute to our new folks. I'll say primarily the folks in the yellow vests. I'm going to welcome you, give you a special welcome. We're really, really glad you're here. Thanks, Keith. Try this one. There we go. I think, okay. Really want to welcome the folks in the yellow vests. You're investing a lot in us. You're trusting us. You're kind of upending your life a little bit to join the trucking industry. You've left home. You're trusting us, and I'll tell you, your trust is not misplaced. We're glad you're here. We have the best training program within the industry. You're going to find, we're going to talk a little bit about the potential earnings. Earnings aren't everything, but it is a huge part. It's why you're here, to take care of your family, to make sure your children are taken care of, that you do the best that you can for them. And we're going to see some information today about the opportunities. This is a great, great, great time to be in trucking. Finally, the pendulum has switched in our favor, I think almost entirely, as far as what our salespeople can do, what we're able to do to make sure you are compensated out there as you should be, that your time is respected, that you are respected out there. So again, this is a great time to be in trucking. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be very, very challenging for you. You're going to reach the point, I think, at some time you say, I'm not sure I can do this. I just messed up this backing up, or maybe you had a minor accident. Things like that are going to happen. Don't give up. Don't give up on us. We're gonna give you all the tools that you need to be successful. If you listen to your instructor, if you listen to your trainer and ask questions. I'm not saying don't push back, don't ask questions, but listen. These men and women have been out there a long time and they know what they're doing. We've vetted them very closely. We're confident in their ability to teach you. So again, I just want to welcome you. It's going to be very challenging for you, but when we bring our first speaker up, you're going to say, this is going to be a good opportunity for me and my family. So again, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. What we have today is we have Jason Seymour from our operations division. We're really proud of the opportunities we have now for all drivers, but particularly for our teams. Teams have an incredible opportunity right now, and Jason's going to talk about that. Then we're going to have Dennis come back up, and he's going to talk about how we support you. It's important that we support you out there, and it's not just you. You're not alone, and you're going to see that. We got something I think pretty neat here. And then we're going to have Stan Auman come up, another one of our reefer operations managers, and talk about company earnings. We're not all lease. We're not all owner operator. We do have company drivers. We're fine with that. We want you to choose what's right for you. And if for you, the right selection is a company driver, we want to make sure you're taken care of financially as well. And we've got some great opportunities on the company side. So Stan's going to come up and talk about that. So we got a lot going on. So I think we'll go ahead and get started. You
want to talk about safety for a minute?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. We're just so excited with these speakers. Go ahead, Dennis. Sorry.
Before we bring Jason up in that pink shirt, we're going to talk a little bit about safety, okay? And what we like to do each week is kind of give a report on, how drivers are doing out on the road. And one of the best ways to do that is to report to you kind of what we do inspection-wise. So each week we probably get an upwards of anywhere from 100 to 140 inspections where drivers are getting inspected by DOT officers or state highway patrolmen. And, this guy standing next to me looks at every single one of them every single week. Luckily, he only makes me look at them about once every 3 weeks. All right. And actually, this week was my week to take a look at them, so the numbers were, we had 126 total inspections. All right. And we had 86 clean. That brings us to a total of 68% clean inspections. Now, I got a lot of 68% when I was in college, and that was a D, and that was in passing. But in realms of what the industry average is, the industry average still floats somewhere in the 30s for clean inspections. So our prime drivers are almost doubling what the average is, and you guys are doing a great job of making sure your equipment's ready to go, your logs are ready to go, and you're ready to go when you get out on the road and get inspected. You make us look good, all right? But, with the mindset of always trying to improve, that's the prime culture. We want to get better every single time. We got a couple things this week that I noticed that we need to improve on a little bit. One was, we had a lot of drivers not being able to readily, availably access your permits and things like that. You've got probably the most useful tool that I think we've ever come up with right here in your pocket with the Prime mobile app. So every permit, your insurance, all these things are right inside of your pocket. And if you've never had to access this information, you might want to familiarize yourself with that process just in case you do get pulled in for an inspection. You'll be ready to go. If you're not sure how to do that, call your fleet manager, whoever the case may be, and they can get you taken care of. But we had an awesome week inspection-wise. I think next week we've got a big week coming up, the CVSA Brake Safety Week. So we'll probably have a little bit more than 126 inspections next week. So just, double check yourself, make sure you're ready to go. Be expected to be inspected. So expect to be inspected. So, all right, we can go right on to our next speaker.
Go ahead, Dennis.
All right, so next we're gonna bring up Jason Seymour. And I pick on Seymour all the time because, as Steve talked about, I spent a lot of years in operations, and a big part of what we do was, we learn, and the way we learn is we sit and we listen to the people that came before us and that know. And for many years, I sat near Seymour. I listened to a ton of his conversations. I even, seen him get heated a couple times and get upset, but that's okay. That's a part of it. And we all learned from that,
You
right?
deserved it. I mean, in my defense, Dennis, you deserved every one of those, man.
I didn't mention that was at me. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jason Seymour. I work in reefer operations. Very happy to be with you again on a Friday morning. I'm here to talk to everybody, but more specifically to the folks in the yellow vest. Welcome, as Steve said. We're very happy you made the choice to come to Prime. We're very proud of what the program that we have built here, and that's exactly what I'm here to talk to you about today. So many of you are coming here, so maybe starting a second career, maybe your first career went away, maybe some of you are following a childhood dream, you always wanted to drive a truck. But I just have a simple question for you. How many of you in the next, 52 weeks, that you're here at Prime, starting today at day one, want to earn over $100,000? How many of you could do that, want to take advantage of that opportunity? Awesome. That's exactly what we want. And that's exactly what I'm here today to talk to you about, is how to accomplish that goal. Steve mentioned it, and we'll talk about it a lot. It is a great time to be in trucking, and the earnings, our drivers are making more money than they ever have before. And that's especially true with our teams. And so what I'm here to talk to you today about is I'm going to plant the seed, because in 6 months, I want you to be in here talking, getting ready to take out a PSD student, just like you're getting ready to go out for the first time. So here's how you do it. And these are real numbers. I can show them to you. I sit either in the basement of the Z building or out in the plaza. I kind of split my time. Stan sits up on the second floor. Dennis in the safety department. These are real numbers that we track every week. I will tell you, they're for the lease operators and the reefer division. If you're in the tanker division or the flatbed division, they're going to be a little bit different, but they're pretty close in all three of our lease divisions. Company drivers are going to be a little bit different than that, also, which Stan is going to talk about here in just a moment. So anyway, so you got to think about it. You're here with zero. You're working towards that CDL, and you got to think for the next 3 to 4 weeks, you're probably going to earn zero, right? Because you're out here, you're training, you're learning to drive, you're learning to back, you're learning to do that pre-trip so that you can get that CDL and pass that test and get hired on. And then once you get hired on, your training period is going to be a minimum of 30,000 miles. And that takes about 9 weeks or so from the time you get assigned a trainer to running the miles. And, maybe there's some home time mixed in there. You come in, you do your upgrade classes. You're probably looking at about a 9 or so week period of time. Your earnings during that 9 week period of time is $900. So for the first 9 weeks that you're going to be here, once you get hired on, $8,100 or so is going to be what your earnings are. Okay. Now, At that point, you upgrade, and let's say you lease a truck and you go reefer solo, all right, which is the division that that I've worked in my entire career here. Our average earnings for our lease operator solos right now are $1,565, and that's an average over the last year, the last 52 weeks, $1,565. So you're going to run 13 weeks as a solo at $1,565, which is going to put another $20,000 and change in your bank account. Now, the reason you're only going to do that for 13 weeks is because our training program, when you reach 6 months of total experience, then you're eligible to train. And there are some other benchmarks you need to hit along the way. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about those because that's the next part of our meeting with Dennis and our support team. But at 6 months, you can come in and you can take the instructor trainer class, just like there's, 60 or so people taking it this week, prepared to take each one of you out to teach you to do the backing, the pre-trip, and the driving skills, okay? Now, in addition to the solo earnings that you would make just from running solo freight, you're paid an additional stipend of $300 a week. So for that next 4 weeks, it's going to be a little bit higher, okay? So you're going to make $1,865. So that puts about another $7,500 or so in your pocket. Now, the great thing about it is once you take that student out, then you're going to be able to run team, and that's where the big money is. Our team earnings over the last 52 weeks are north of $3,000. So for the last 22 weeks of this year that you're the first year at Prime, you're going to be earning on average over $3,000 a week. That's after you pay your truck payment, after you pay your fuel, after you pay the co-driver, after you pay your tolls, your maintenance, blah, blah, blah. After everything else comes out, over $3,000 a week in profit, okay? So the path has been built. The earnings are there. They're real. The road is there. The business model is there. All you got to do is kind of think about where you want to be 52 weeks from now. 52 weeks from now, where do you want to be? And that path starts today. Because as I said, there are some benchmarks along the way that you want to hit. You may have an idea of what you want to do. I can tell you, everybody's going to have an opinion on that. Everybody's going to have an opinion. Only you know what's best for you. Do I team? Do I solo, reefer, flatbed, tanker, company, lease, regional, over the road? There's a spot for you at Prime. I can tell you. There's a spot for you at Prime. Start developing your circle of trust. That needs to be your trainer, your fleet manager, your support team, logs, road assist, payroll, folks in the safety department. Everybody here is incented to help you be as successful as you can be. That's our job, is to teach you and coach you how to take advantage of this great business model and this great path that we've developed over the years. So that's my message to you today, is it's not too early to start thinking about it. And if you're in a yellow vest 1 year from 6 months from now, I want to see you sitting here next to somebody in a yellow vest that you're getting ready to take out, okay? Because not only do we need you, but the benefits are there for you and your family, and we can help you reach that goal. Thank you.
Any questions for Jason while we got him up here? You're getting pretty efficient at that.
I think I answered them all, man. It takes me a little while to get my delivery down, but I think we got it.
Hey, Jason, I just want to say thank you. I'm Anthony Eck.
Hey, man. Yeah, I recognize you. It was good to see you, dude.
You contacted me when I got COVID.
Yeah.
Checked on me, and I appreciate it. And I just want to give a shout out to all the in-house employees that actually reached out to my fiance and me while we were down. For you new drivers, this is a family, and they do take care of you. So to experience what I experienced in July, and to have everybody that's in this room contact us to see how we're doing and to make sure we're doing good, it doesn't get any better than this. I just want to say thank you.
Hey, no problem, man. We were glad to help in any way we could. It's great to see you up and around. It really is.
All right, Jason, appreciate you. Before Dennis comes up, I just want to add just a couple of things, so I can't help myself to what Jason said there. And we use that term a lot. This whole facility here, this whole company was not built with smoke and mirrors. And what that really means is this is the real deal. And people may be thinking, well, yeah, they're going to say that, but they don't want me to make that much money because that's money out of Steve's pocket then, or Dennis's pocket. But that's not the way it works at Prime. Literally, the more you make, the more successful you are, the better off I am personally, the better off Dennis is, and the better off Prime is as a company. So we are behind you 100%. Our main focus in life is to support you and make you successful. And part of that is the team you're going to have here at Prime. So Dennis is back up here because he's lived this, he's done this. Brought that for 1 second. And I want Dennis to kind of go through this because he's got it from a fleet manager's perspective. So Dennis, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and you can bring your team up.
Awesome. We got it. All right. So, we always talk about, our highest calling here at Prime is safety. And that's true. But the most important thing we have here are people. Anthony, when we found out you were sick, my heart went out to you and your fiance, and we're glad you're doing well. It's the people that are here that make this company successful. And it's the people here that create the culture of Prime that we're so absolutely proud of. All right. So what we're going to talk about next, Jason talked about this 6-figure earning potential. Man, is that real? And if it is, which it is, who's going to help me do that? Because, if you're anything like me, when I first started here, I'll tell you guys a quick story. Last night, I got this club that I'm a part of, and we come together and we sit with, and I swear I was the youngest person in the room, and the lady that was sitting next to me kept saying, man, you look so familiar. I've seen you somewhere before. And I just, hey, I work at Prime. I went to college at Missouri State, and it turns out that, as we went through the line, this lady used to manage the apartment complex that I lived in when I first started here at Prime as an intern. All right. So you can probably figure out where this story is going. When I first started here at Prime, man, I was a college student. I was broke. I didn't have any money. And me and my roommate struggled to come up with $550 a month to pay rent. So this lady was knocking on our door every other month searching for her $550. And we finally figured out where we knew each other from. So I've come a long way from there. And a big part of that is this company right here. So some of you, may be saying, hey man, that's kind of where I am now. And I want to get to, I've got goals and I want to get somewhere. We've got a team of people, that's going to help you do that. And I'm going to ask, SBU number 6, you guys to come on up and join me here. I want to introduce you to you guys, one SBU. All right, come on up. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I don't have microphones for you all yet, but we'll get to that. And when we talk about the culture of Prime and who's going to help you get to that 6-figure earning potential that Jason just got through talking about, it's these folks right here. If you're so lucky enough to get this unique SBU, this is SBU number 6, Ryan Blankenship. I'm sorry, is it 10? It's SBU number 10. 6. It's in my heart, it's SBU number 1. Okay. So, Ryan Blankenship is the fleet manager, and we'll go through it and we'll talk to each one of these folks. But, amongst these folks, we've got about 50 years of trucking knowledge, 50 years of trucking experience that's assigned specifically to you and, some of your close friends on that fleet to help you get to that 6-figure earning potential that Jason talked about. All right. You're not just randomly calling some call center and you get who you get. These are your folks. This is your family. Ryan is your business partner. He's not your supervisor. He's not your boss. This is your business partner. And this is the team that Robert has assigned to them to help you be successful. And just like Steve talked about, it's not, hey, if they make a certain amount of money, you're taking money away from, Brennon here in our logs department. No, quite the opposite. The more you make, the more successful you are, the safer you are, the better you do at delivering, picking up and delivering on time, the better each and every one of these associates do. So, I'm going to go through and we're going to talk to each one of them. They're going to give you some information, and we want this to be a dialogue. So especially for you new folks, I want you to ask the questions. You've done your research. You've searched the internet chat rooms about, which fleet manager am I going to get? And, what type of loads can, he or she give me? This is your opportunity to ask those questions to this particular SBU right here, right now, today. We're available. So I want to start with Ryan Blankenship. Ryan Blankenship is a fleet manager, and you're manage about how many lease operators?
I've currently got about 90 trucks on my fleet. Roughly 30 or so are teams or with PSD's students on the truck.
Okay, and I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of information about Ryan. Ryan is kind of like me. He came in this deal with, relatively no trucking knowledge. When I first started here at Prime, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say I wasn't really quite sure what the difference between a truck and a trailer was. All right, but just, kind of sitting by guys like Jason and learning and understanding what I didn't know, we came up in the industry, and Ryan was kind of one of those guys too. He started young, of course, you're still young now, but
Kind of lost track.
right.
Okay,
And,
now.
and he's established himself as one of our better fleet managers. In fact, he does a lot of the training for the new fleet managers and fleet managers in training that come through the program. So, just specifically addressing, the new drivers, what's the expectation for communication? If I'm a new driver or even a new trainee, I mean, do you want me to call you every day? Are you going to call me every day? What's the communication expectation from me to you, and vice versa, from you to me? What should I expect to hear and learn from you?
First off, it's an open door policy here. If you need to call me, call me. Call me every day if you have to. If that's what it is, that's great. Look to get you pointed in the right direction to make sure we're doing things right. As far as, for sure, the expectations, I need to talk to each and every one of you on a weekly basis. Want you to step away from your trainer if you feel like it. In fact, tell him, hey, I'm going to step away. I'm going to go call Ryan. I'm going to let him know how things are going on the truck. The trainers, instructors, they know that. It's to allow me to help to get to know you all a little bit better, and also to make sure that my trainer or my instructor is taking care of you. If you've got a trainer or instructor out there that's getting upset because you're calling the fleet manager, step away, call me anyways. There's plenty of time throughout the day, whether that's a 30-minute break or whatever it might be, or in fact, shoot me a text messages. Most of my students, trainees have my business card that's got my cell phone on it. Send me a text. If we got to talk after hours, then that's what we got to do.
Excellent. In fact, that's so intuitive. That was going to be my next question for you. I came and I met you as a trainee, and I noticed that you and the trainer, you're like best friends. So if there is an issue that, maybe we're not getting along, or maybe it's reality TV, maybe the training process isn't going perfect like I want, I feel a little bit nervous to call Ryan, because, man, you guys were talking about the kids and, the vacations that you took. You guys are all friends. How should I expect to, be successful and call you? And Ryan just addressed it. Hey, you're part of this family too. All right. You deserve that type of attention too. So I appreciate that, Ryan. So let's talk to Amanda. So, I love Prime, I love trucking, but it's not my hobby. I'm here to get paid, just like you guys. All right. And, it excites me when Jason talks about that 6-figure earning potential, and it's going to be somebody here, maybe not Amanda, hopefully Amanda, because she's one of our best, that's going to be here to help you through that settlement process. All right. And, as a new fleet manager, I remember looking at the settlement for the first time, and it might as well be written in a different language because I didn't know what the heck it said. All right. And you may have that challenge at first, but we've got somebody here, not only Ryan, but we've got somebody here in our payroll department today. We've got Amanda with us that will help you through that process. So Amanda, how long have you been here at Prime?
I've been here 9 years this month.
9 years. So you started when you were like 10. So
18.
All right, excellent. So other than, just the general processing of payroll, what type of, hands-on services do you provide for, all of our drivers?
Well, to start off with, we help set up direct deposit. We can help you update your contact information, change W-4 forms. For our lease operators, we can help you start an emergency fund. So when you do get out there on a truck and you start a lease, you want to get that started, we can help you with that. We have an awesome option on the app now called Manage eFund. You can set it up, make changes, make withdrawals, anything you need. And if you need the directions on how to do that, just reach out to your payroll advisor. But most importantly, we can help you understand your payroll. So any questions you have, if you need somebody to go through it with you, give us a call. Your payroll advisor's phone number is on your app. Give us a call. Come find us if we're on site. If your particular payroll advisor is not on site that day, I am. I'm here Monday through Friday. I sit in the basement of the Z building, so the lower level. So come find me if you have any questions.
Excellent, excellent. And I do want to make sure, I point this out because we've had this issue. This is, especially for the folks that are listening out on Facebook and YouTube, every once in a while, there's some calls that go around, you'll receive a call from some guy that claims to be Steve in the payroll department. And in the safety department, and he's going to tell you that last night we had a big storm and we lost a bunch of data, and we need your com data card number, your social security number, your mama's maiden name, all this good stuff. And Steve, you've heard him on you've seen him on these videos. He's the director of safety. So unfortunately, you give him that information, and then you think about what you've done. You've just given some random person that's claiming to be somebody they're not your information. And we had this happen, and the first person I picked up the phone and called was Amanda. So tell us a little bit about, what we do in a situation like that where we have some fraud.
So first off, we will never call you to ask for your personal information. We're not going to call you, ask for your card number. If we did have an issue with the card, the most we would do is just verify the last four of it. So if this does happen to you, don't panic. Call us, call the fuel desk. We'll block the card. We'll get you with the fraud department at ComData. If you're not already signed up for the text alerts for ComData, I highly recommend that. You can just text IN to 57911, and they'll sign you up for the fraud alerts. That way, if there are any issues, they can get that started, get the process going, and we'll try to prevent any further fraud.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now we're going to get to the senior man of the group. All right. And we, Rodney and I walked down together this morning, and, two things. One, he said, "Hey man, I'm getting pretty old. One, I just dropped my kid off at college, this weekend. And, him and I are kind of in the same boat." He said, "I'm getting to the point where I've worked at Prime almost half of my life." And I'm like, you know what? Me too. I'm 41 and I'm approaching 20 years here at Prime. So, Rodney, you've been here, you told me 23 years, so, when it comes to a driver standpoint, just like I talked about as a young fleet manager, I struggle reading, the payroll settlements, and I had somebody here to help me learn, and through repetition I learned. My other weak point was maintenance. Man, I can't fix a thing. All right. So, and I'm sure everybody in here, you guys are maintenance experts, but maybe somebody listening out on Facebook or that'll tune into this on the app here in a week or so, maybe they're just starting out in the industry, they're just upgrading, and they're like me, they're not real maintenance experts. So what can you give what kind of advice can you give to somebody that's kind of starting out that may not know everything they should about, turning a wrench on the truck?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The most important thing is your daily inspections. The more eyes, the more time you see, you can catch something. It's a small problem before it becomes a big problem. Your routine maintenance, keeping on top of that is key. Obviously, I know you guys are busy. You've got to take and get those PMs done, but we've got it. When I first started out in the maintenance department, I think you had to do a PM every 25,000 miles. Now you can go, 6-7 months, 75,000 miles before PM. So, that helps out. But, for, the guys there in the yellow vest, welcome. But there's a good class. It's called Pro Maintenance. Brian can set you up, or I can set you up, or if you got somebody else's SBU, your road assist advisor, your fleet managers can sign you up. We do that every Tuesdays and Thursday here at Springfield. Starts at 8:00 in the morning. We're gonna get you some tools in your hands, minor stuff. But I've got a lot of company drivers that, I'll go and, stop and, you're sitting there waiting for your load. I got guys that do air chute repairs. And we're going to give you back money for that because you're just saving us money by doing it. We don't have to call somebody out. That's the biggest thing is you go to TA Petro, you're going to be sitting there waiting. The more things you can learn to do to minor repairs, the more time you're going to have to drive.
Absolutely. So, if I'm a driver out there and I pick up an empty reefer trailer and the chute's hanging down, man, if I got you on the phone, you think you can walk me through getting those rivets, back up in there and get that they're working?
You're gonna have to have a step stool for that. But I mean, if you've got light out or something like that, I mean, there's gonna be certain things you can do and certain things you can't. But like jump starting a reefer unit, your battery's dead. I mean, doesn't matter if you're a company driver or a lease operator. You jump start that unit, I'm paying you $25. Because it's gonna cost us 75 at Tierra Petro, so.
And then you're also going to make sure that I don't shock the heck out of myself, right?
Yeah, I can.
All right. So that's the most important part. All right. So good deal. So, the going theme here is that you're not alone. These folks are, heavily incentivized to make sure that your life is easier. We understand that, as a truck driver out there, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have some challenges, and we've got a team assembled here to help you out. Last we've got Brennon over here, so as a new driver, logs, unless you've been in the industry before, you don't have a clue what they are. All right. And even just a little bit through your training, you're going to get some information from your trainer, but you're still going to have some questions. So we've got log advisors here like Brennon, that can help you get through some of the challenges when it comes to the electronic logs. So Brennon, if you would just I know I asked you for 3, but I think you got like a laundry list of things that you can give to new drivers coming out in the industry, especially those upgrading for the first time.
Yeah, so there are quite a few FMCSA regulations to keep in mind. It's hard to narrow it down to 3, so I do have a few for you. Number 1 rule, I would recommend you think of your log advisor as your friend. We are here to educate you so you can pass your inspections and be successful. So the first thing I want to go over is personal conveyance. Please make sure that you're using this properly out on the road. There are some serious ramifications if you're misusing PC. So main thing to remember with PC is that it's only meant for small personal movements, nothing work-related or long distance at all. If you are caught misusing personal conveyance by DOT, it could easily result in a ticket or even worse, an out of service, which impacts your CSA score, impacts the money in your pocket, as well as potentially the load. The next thing I want to go over is your on-duty time. Please make sure that you're going on duty to account for all of your physical work, such as fueling, work at customers, your pre or post-trip inspections, as well as accounting for DOT inspections out on the road, or if you're ever involved in an accident. You would need to be on duty from the moment the wheels come to a stop to the moment that you're finished working with the officer. The next thing I want to go over is daily certification. Certifying your logs on the Qualcomm is the equivalent of your e-signature, stating everything is logged correctly to your knowledge. If you fail to certify, it could, of course, result in 1 or multiple tickets throughout the week. Additionally, your log person can only make changes to logs that have already been certified. So it's critical that you certify first before calling in, just to expedite that process. And the last thing I want to go over is your paper logbook. It is super important that you have one of these on the truck for yourself. If you're in that team situation or you're a PSD or a TNT with your instructor or trainer, you must have at least one on board for each driver. If you can't provide it during an inspection, you could be looking at a ticket. And again, it impacts your CSA score as well as the money in your pocket. And when you pass those DOT inspections, you're making a bonus. All right, so it's extra money that goes into your pocket. I'd recommend if you have questions or concerns about the log regulation, just give us a call anytime.
So Brennon, you gave some great information, but I got a little bit distracted by bacon. So, is there a class or something that if I didn't remember exactly everything you said, is there something out there or a resource that you guys can help us out?
Yes, so we hold several classes. Our main class is comprehensive, in which we cover everything you need to know log related to pass an inspection. It's held at 1330 here in Springfield every day, Monday through Friday. So if you're a PSD student or a TNT trainee and you want to get a leg up, feel free to attend. I'd recommend even our seasoned drivers, feel free to attend because the regulation is changing all the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brennon. So guys, this is just a real small example of the talent we have underneath the roof. not just here in Springfield, Pittston, Salt Lake City. We got a few folks out in Denver that can help you out. These are the talented associates that are, chomping at the bit to make sure that you're successful. All right. So I want to make sure that we leave a little bit of time, Phil, to get some questions. I know we're coming up on the end here, and we got some other speakers, but I think we got a question here in the back.
Actually, I don't have a question. What I had was a comment based upon some of the things that Ryan said. Now, I'm really lucky that I have Ryan Blankenship as my fleet manager. We didn't always feel that way about each other, but we started as partners and we became friends. And we do keep it on when business is business. We keep it that way. But what I want to encourage you as students and as trainees, instead of going to social media all the time to complain about what something's going on, call your fleet manager. For goodness sake, call them. They are the ones that are going to be able to help resolve the situation. Everything else on social media is speculation and hearsay. Ryan and I have had conversations at 9 o'clock at night and 1 o'clock in the morning on a number of issues. He'll respond. He might not respond right away because, oh, by the way, he was asleep, but he does answer. He gets back to you. I'm sure the other fleet managers do the same thing. Please communicate with your fleet manager. If you've got a question, about payroll, call your payroll advisor. Don't say, why did I only make this much this week? We don't know on social media. We really don't. Amanda will know. She'll be able to tell you exactly why it happened. Rodney, God, Rodney, how many times have we gone through stuff? Rodney has a lot of drivers that he takes care of. It's not just one fleet that he does, but they get you taken care of. Again, it's one of those things. Don't ask social media. Send the message in on the Qualcomm or on the app. They'll get you somewhere. They'll get you fixed. And he does pay pretty nicely if you do a little bit more than the minimum amount of work. And logs, oh gosh, logs, never mind. Talk to your log advisor. That's all I can say. They'll get you squared away and keep you legal.
Thank you so much. We got a question over here. We're gonna get you the microphone. Give us 1 second.
So I had an issue with Qualcomm card. I tried to set it up the way that we were supposed to by setting up the PIN. And last night I found out that it wasn't validated. And when I tried to validate it, it told me that I had to get a new one from the fleet manager. And I even called the number to try to talk to them about it because it wouldn't give me the option of changing the card number. It would just give me the option of just resetting everything. And so they told me to talk to you guys.
Yeah, for sure. I'll find you after the meeting and we'll try to get that resolved. We do have a ComData representative that we work with. So if you guys do ever have an issue with the card, we can always try to get with my supervisor who has a little bit more expertise, or we can try to get with ComData directly too. So.
Oh yeah, I called them and they were like, well, good luck.
We'll get it sorted out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Over here.
Just a quick question. Can you give us a rough estimate ratio wise? We talk about fleet managers and everything. Can you give us a ratio of driver? You have 90, you said. My fleet manager has 92. And the reason why I asked the question is on weekends, sometimes you get that Qualcomm message saying, I'm watching 3 fleets. Can we get a rough guesstimate on how many each fleet manager has? So on a weekend, we can automatically assume when they're watching 3 fleets, how long it's going to take to be in touch with somebody?
I'll let Ryan answer. Go ahead.
Good question. I think the lease fleet manager average is 86, 87, something of that sort. Company fleet managers, I want to say is about 68. I don't know. Weekends are tough. They are. I mean, our work weekends, anytime your dispatch coverage might be one of those fleet managers that is covering. It also could be one of our fleet managers in training, which the fleet managers in training in my group, one has been here for, I want to say 15 plus years, former driver. And then the other individual is about an 8-year or so associate. And then there's a couple trainees, like I've got a trainee right now. He'll be covering probably just one fleet, say on a weekend day here in a handful of months once he's kind of up to speed.
Ryan did a good job there. Really, we only set it up with 2 fleets on the weekend. And here's how sometimes it gets to 3. and it's happened a lot over the last 15, 18 months, is if somebody is ill that's on the schedule, and then all of a sudden we got to scramble to get that covered because we just don't have folks sitting around waiting to see if somebody calls in or something like that. Not an excuse, but factual, and those guys are going to work through it, as fast as they possibly can. They also can have, a major accident, rollover, something like that they're handling where they're getting tied up, and, hopefully they'll cry uncle and ask for help if they're getting behind on the Qualcomm or on the calls, and we'll get it covered for you. But I appreciate that question.
Here's the other part that neither one of them mentioned. Ryan and his group, they're tens. All right. And if something's going on and you're not getting the response, whether it's, like you said, whether it's 9 p.m., 1 a.m. or noon on Saturday, call them. You got a cell phone number. Hey, Ryan, I know you're off today, but can you shoot me a quick call? I got a question about this load I'm on. He's going to call back. I guarantee it. We have any other questions? For the sake of time, we're gonna keep it rolling to the next speakers. If you guys don't mind hanging out after the meeting, if you guys have questions for any one of these 4 departments or the SBU as a whole, don't hesitate to catch them after the meeting and ask them any questions. Thank you guys so much. You did a great job.
All right. Yeah, I should introduce myself. I'm Stan Auman. I'm an operations manager up in the reefer division. And I just, I want to recognize Anthony. Great to see you, buddy, back healthy. And then Charles, both of them are key members of our driver advisory board. If you have issues out there, Charles is right on. Don't go to social media, go to the folks that can help you, your support team right here. So we just appreciate all of you and everything you do. It's great to see all the yellow vests. We feel like you've chosen the best training program in the country. If you have any issues, like I said, you've already seen who your lifelines are. And we have a couple others out there that weren't mentioned. We have Chris Martin and Steve Tassin that work on placing the TNT, with their trainers. If you're having issues with your trainer and you don't like the answers you're getting from your fleet manager, you can call one of them or you can call any of us operations managers and we'll help you through that. Brooke Mosley is our female driver liaison. You're a female here and you've got an issue you'd like to talk about it and you'd like to talk to another female, Brooke's your person there for that. And if you need information as far as phone numbers, things like that, emails, and you don't already have them from orientation, let me know and we'll get those to you. They asked me to talk about company driver pay today, and it's a little complicated. I had to bring notes for that, but I'm going to start off with our independent contractor, where if you're leasing a truck, pay program, you get 72% of what we bill. Simple right there. But the great news on that is, our revenue year over year is up, where your revenue is up about 14 to 15 cents per mile as an independent contractor or leaser with it. So, great paychecks. You heard those numbers. Jason rattled off, everybody's doing well out there. It's a great time to be in trucking. On the company driver pay, you choose to come over there and Jason talked about that pass. So you're going to start out solo. Well, there's your first big decision right here when you go to leasing, because leasing passes out all of our trucks, whether you're a company or lease. Here's your first big decision. Okay, I'm running solo, I'm by myself. Choose that lightweight truck that's available, and here's why. If you choose a condo, you're going to make 48 cents a mile. If you choose a lightweight truck, you're going to make 53 cents a mile. And then if you go run regional in one of our regional divisions, you're going to make another nickel a mile. If you're in construction and you need a hammer and they have a $12 hammer and a $50 hammer and it accomplishes the same mission, I'm going to buy that $12 hammer every time. That lightweight truck's going to work well. Most of them get better fuel mileage. They're easy to back, easier to maneuver, and 5 cents a mile is huge. So solo right there, those numbers, are pretty easy, 48 and 53. The team structure is a little bit different because we have two AC teams, permanent teams, and we have trainers, and our trainers here, our company trainers are doing really well. I mean, I looked through some paychecks yesterday, saw a lot of paychecks over, $1,800 to $2,200 for those company trainers. So you have a base pay amount, which starts at like 30.5 cents, and we base everything on your prime miles, your experience here at Prime, how many miles you've settled on. And as you achieve more miles, you move up that pay scale. And that scale is out there on our webpage. And Andrew's promised me it's going to be available, on the app in different places in the very near future, because
like I said, it's just a graduated scale and based on miles. Now, if you're training on the company side, you also have training pay. So that can be 10.5 cents with a B seat or 12.5 cents with a C seat. So, that's where you get to on, 2 A seats or a training team. But now here's the big news. We also have a team mileage bonus. So, this is huge. And I saw when I was looking at these paychecks, I saw team mileage bonuses between $450 and $800 based on how many miles they ran that week. So for the miles from 3,000 to 3,999 for the week, you get an additional 26 cents a mile. And for all miles 4,000 and up, you get an additional 31 cents per mile. So that was huge. So, Jason's already talked about it. Man, I want to make 6 figures every year, and I know all you guys do too. You hearing me all right? I just felt like a cutout. So, we all want to make $100,000. So training is huge at Prime, and we really need trainers. Look at all these folks in these yellow vests here that need somebody to help them out and give them a hand up, and move them on in their career path and earn that CDL. So, that's really all I have this morning on the pay program. I'm hoping they have questions, Andrea, because that's what we were talking about, because we had several questions out there before. Anybody in here have any questions? Got one back here too.
Is that law going to go into effect where you have to be a trainer for 2 years or have to have your CDL for 2 years before you're allowed to be a trainer since it got shot down in February?
Actually, that's supposed to go into effect this February, but it's only pre-CDL. That's only for instructors on that, our trainers that won't affect. But yeah, right now it's moving forward, but who knows with the government? Because they put it off twice already. Thank you for that question.
What's the difference when you're driving floral?
She wanted to know what the difference is if you're driving floral, delivering for floral.
I didn't hear it, Keith.
She's asking about, is there a difference when you're driving for floral?
As far as, I don't understand drive, but if you're hauling a flower load, really as a company driver, are you asking as a company driver?
As a lease operator.
As a lease operator, there's not any different. We're going to split that revenue with you. We're right now on some of these current, they're almost like LTL loads, 12 to 14 stops. You're going to have a lot more unloading pay in that versus a standard load that's, 1 or 2 drops. So that would be the only difference there.
But as of the end of this month, floral is not going to have any more driver unloading. So August 31st, I think, is the date, but no more driver unloading on floral loads.
Keith beat me to the punch. I was going to add that in there because that's great news for all of our operators. Every time I pull up a team, it says will not do driver unload flowers. And I understand why. I'm not going to walk them 150 yards down an alley in the middle of winter either. But anyway, they're changing that because they know that business model's outdated and where the industry's going. And that's just great news. So any additional questions? Okay.
How many days can a driver take off and still make over 100,000?
How many days can a driver take off and still make over 100,000? 0. No, because we need you out there hauling freight right now. And Steve and Robert will talk about that. We need as many drivers out there, available percentage. We understand these nice rates have allowed our drivers to take more home time, which is really a good thing for us and the industry. And so, I'd say average, probably 2 to 3 days a month, maybe a little bit more than that in the current industry. I can't, yeah, we can't hear you.
Are the floral loads going to be palletized now?
I don't know the answer to that. Keith, do you know if they're going to be palletized?
No, the problem with palletizing, they lose so many cubes with the pallets that reduces the revenue in the load. So they'll still be floor loaded, but they're going to have to be a receiver unload. The drivers aren't going to load it.
Right. And they're basically these receivers are going to combine and have several of them come and pick up their product at the same place is how they're going to do it, my understanding. Any other questions?
Yeah, just to clarify, is lightweight even an option on flatbed?
Yes, I'm pretty sure flatbed, no, they can't. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong there. I thought they could. I thought we used to have some. So that must have changed. Sorry. But we'll get a definite answer for sure. I'll use the last of my time, and I know we're running late. Just remind everybody, and I know Steve and Robert are going to talk about too, about safety. We've had a couple rollovers over the last couple of weeks. We had a driver, an inexperienced driver, let the truck get away from him on a steep, incline or running downhill, and run away with these automatic transmissions are great. But that descent control is so key in keeping this truck under control, and learning how to use those jakes. They're a little bit different on each one of our trucks, the Internationals, the Peterbilts, and the Freightliners. We have our simulators. We can help you there if you feel like you need more training. And we also have an automatic, transmission class at all of our terminals. So if you think you need more help in that area on that automatic transmission, please ask, and we'll get you that training. And how many people here have had a critical event? It's not a judgment. It's okay. You can be honest. These when you have a critical event, hopefully you will hear from one of us. And if you don't, call me. But these are near miss accidents, and we have to learn from them. We're not going to judge you unless you get a whole bunch of them. But learn from them. The worst mistake is one you repeat. So slow down, increase following distance, get that great fuel mileage, and be safe out there. Thanks a lot.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm exhausted. This was a lot of information today. I do want to thank, Jason for talking about the team opportunities and that panel we had up here with Dennis, with Ryan and Rodney and Brennon and Amanda. Those are our associates. Those are the type of people that we strive to hire here. We're very careful on who we allow to work here for that very reason, because they have such an impact on your life. And please take to heart what Dennis said. Use those folks. They're there to make sure that in this difficult industry, this challenging industry, that we're giving you all the support that we possibly can. And always appreciate Stan being down. We've been friends for a long time here. He's all in with Prime. So it's just been a great, great meeting for us, and appreciate you being here. Before I bring up our final two speakers, I do want to talk about, Stan was talking about rollovers. Next week, what we're looking at, we're going to kind of analyze those last couple rollovers we had, share some information on it. We've also got some information on how to make sure the reefers are running efficiently as we head through the rest of summer. It's important that we're cooling those loads appropriately. So he's got some good information for next week. We did get two questions in. I'm going to cover them real quickly. One of the questions was, why does an independent contractor get paid more than a company driver for a clean inspection? We're taking a look at that. I think we may adjust that. We'll always have to split it for a team, give a little bit to the co-driver and some to the lead seat, but we're looking at that and making that a little bit more equitable. And the last question we had was, why, if my CPAP has been recalled, why am I still being charged $2 a week for monitoring if I'm not using it because it's been recalled? And that's a fair question, but I can tell you, Heather, who manages Cardinal Sleep here, actually owns Cardinal Sleep, she's been putting in a ton more than $2 per week effort for everyone that's in our sleep program. She's gotten her first 233 replacement masks in. I think we got them before anyone else out there. They've prioritized trucking, and then I think they prioritize Prime on top of that. So she's been working extremely hard. She's also registered the mask for folks that need to be recalled, and she will return the mask. She'll also, when she gets your new mask in, fit it for you, make sure it all works properly. So I think that $2 remains appropriate, and she's doing just a heck of a job for us. Before I bring up our next to last speaker, one thing we do at every Prime event is very important to us, is if you served in the military, if you have defended this country in uniform, would you please stand so we could recognize you today, please, for your service? As all our speakers said, nothing we do is more important than safety. And we can tell from this week that the accidents that we've been involved in, the roads are crowded out there. We've been rear-ended 4 times this week by vehicles where the other vehicle had to be towed. They hit us with such impact. Not a lot you can do about that, but as Stan said, watch your following distance. Watch your speed. Don't be distracted in the cab there. It is challenging out there, but every one of you is up for it, or you wouldn't be here. So please be safe out there this weekend. I'd like to ask Steve Wutke, our Vice President of Sales and Marketing, to come up.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. I can tell you this, they did not save the best for last, but they did save the oldest for last. That's the way this is. It's really nice to see so many new people with us. We appreciate your trust. We think we've got a really great opportunity. Obviously, you've heard from Jason and Ryan, who is absolutely one of our very best fleet managers. However, we've got another 75 or so like him. So, you know, we take a great deal of pride of how we treat our operators, and you deserve the respect from everyone here at Prime. And that's one of our goals, along with making a really good living. Yeah, I'm in sales, and you all have listened to a lot of stuff today, but the one thing you should take away, please, if you don't remember anything else, remember you're getting into a very dangerous profession, and safety is our highest calling here. If you don't believe it and you can't live it, you're probably in the wrong profession. It's really dangerous, and we're blessed to have so many good operators that million miles, 2 million miles accident free. I think we've even got a couple 4 million milers accident free. That's our highest calling. That's our foremost on our mind. So keep that in mind. I'd like to also tell you, we've got a group of vendors back here that support us every week. You all stand up and just, I'm not going to ask you for your names, but they represent our power units, our trailers, our carrier units, everything that's a part of our business. They come every Friday and they're here to answer questions. So if you've got issues, please feel free to talk to them. They'd love to hear from you. Really, I think it's time. We're running tight. I'll tell you real quickly, business is over the top good. We turned down 16,000 loads last week alone. So the demand is unbelievable. And it is a great time to be in trucking. And it's a great time to make money, to go to the bank. And that's our goal too. We want to see you all do a really good job financially. And again, you cannot do that if you don't operate safely, okay? So do not be a victim in our environment. If you have a question, you feel like something isn't quite right, just as Ryan said, talk to your fleet manager. Everybody should have a cell phone of your fleet manager. And if you don't have your fleet manager's cell phone, get it and use it if you need it. It is a 24/7 operation. We want you running 7 days a week. The question over here about weekends, I can tell you we're just not as good as we want to be. And these meetings help us get better. So I empathize with you when you have an issue and you need to get it resolved. That's why you should have your fleet manager's cell phone. So work that way, your partners, okay? Ryan, I'm saying that correct, right? You agree with me 100%, right? Yeah, so there you go. I'm going to bring up the guy that started this deal a few years ago. He's on the injured reserve list right now. He's kind of one arm in it and moving a little bit slow these days because he's a little bit older.
I started a few years ago.
Yeah.
Man, that's generous. This is more than a few. 51 years. I'm going to tell you new folks that are just getting into this profession. I started just like you. One truck and, a lot of hard work, a few bumps in the road, many mistakes, but, corrected course. And here we are. Like Steve said, we didn't do the smoke and mirrors. Yeah, we were fortunate, but we did it with a lot of good people. People are the most important thing. If you got good folks, got a good team behind you, you can accomplish a lot. And I don't want to sound like I'm being overly braggadocious or whatever the word is.
It's okay, you may.
But again, we've accomplished a lot. And we're all about, building it from here. We want to do a lot more. We need you folks to help us do that. The drivers, the experienced drivers in this room have done it, have done a magnificent job. Steve, takes credit for all the customers and he does a great job. But, you drivers out there picking them up and delivering them on time, pushing on through, when it might feel good, to take a break. Of course, we don't want to drive off the team. But you know what I mean? Pushing on through, getting this load to 100 on time. Or maybe I'm not holding this quite right. Or maybe Brianne is sabotaging me. I don't know. Brianne's mighty good at what she does. But you know, those experienced drivers, those folks that have been here a while, like Anthony back here. Anthony, it's so good to see you on your feet, and man, we're so thankful that you know, you've gotten through this. Kind of makes a segue to COVID. You know, everybody's favorite issue, right? You know, your health, you know, like safety, is so important to us. We are advocates for vaccination. If you don't get vaccinated, be extremely careful. If you do get vaccinated, you can still get it. It's not a guarantee, but it's very, very likely, or it's very unlikely, that the effects will be severe. So please be careful out there. You know, watch what you're doing, socially distance where you can, you know, wear your mask when appropriate. And most importantly, get vaccinated, because, you know, this thing is lethal. You know, you're good until you're not, right? And it can happen very quickly. Talk to Anthony about it, and he'll tell you about his experience. So, folks, like Steve was saying, we run a little bit long here. I truly appreciate each of you. New folks are getting started with you. Thank you for choosing Prime. A lot of different places you can go. Thank you very much for choosing Prime. I assure you, it was a good decision on your part. So with that, I'll just say, God bless each of you, and please be safe out there.